Hey guys, welcome back to Ferguson Family Danes, and today we are going to follow up with part 2 of Dane colors. Okay, so last video we talked about your traditional standard colors of Harlequin, Merle. I say Merle, but I talked to another breeder today that said Merle, so I don't know which one's which. She's probably right, but it's just going to be a habit for me to say Merle. So we talked about standard Harlequins, traditional standard Harlequins, Merles. We talked about Brindles. We also talked about solids versus tan point and brindle point. So today I'm going to go into a little bit more options that are available, a little bit more details about what varieties you can go with that. And I'm not an expert. I'm constantly learning. Something I learned today as I was on the phone with that breeder was that if you have, I just assumed that Kimber, who is a chocolate Merle we talked about last time, carried Harlequin. And you should always, especially if you're a breeder, you should always color test. But when I first got her, I did not do a full panel. I just tested for certain colors. And the one that I was most concerned about was blue, because I wanted to see if she could produce lilacs, and she did. So I don't have a full color panel, but I assumed that she carried Harlequin because her and Colt have produced tons of Harlequins. And if you remember, Colt is a blue, a solid, not solid blue, but yes, blue brindle point, and they produce a lot of Harlequins. But what that breeder told me today was that if a Merle carries Harlequin, they will automatically be a Harlequin, kind of like it overrides it. So that is new information to me. My point is I'm constantly growing, constantly expanding my knowledge, learning, asking lots of questions. So even though I am presenting this information to you that I have learned, I also know that there's a lot that I am still learning. So we're going to dive into something that I think is super confusing, but we're going to go there because you got to learn it, and that is fawn. So we talked about the standard fawn with the Scooby-Doo, right? Tan coat with the black mask. So the first difference that we talked about slightly yesterday was a black masked fawn here and a blue masked fawn. Slight variation. Black is just a little bit darker on the muzzle versus the blue is just a little bit lighter, like the blue color, okay? So that's one of the first variations that you can get. Later on in the video, we're also going to talk about pie and we're going to talk about mantle. But fawn, okay? Fawn and tan point are connected, okay? So you can't have a fawn tan pointed dog because, and I've done some genetics, but like, you know, in 8th grade when you do the Punnett squares, right? And you put big B, little b with dominant and recessive genes and all those things. Maybe I'll eventually get into being able to do a video about that. But for now, we're going to keep it layman's terms as much as possible for you. So the fawn and the tan point are connected. You can't have a tan pointed fawn, okay? It is either a form of fawn or it's tan pointed. It's one or the other. It can't be both, okay? Because it's not the same gene, but it's kind of the same gene. So because they're connected, you just like brindle and brindle point, right? You either have a solid brindle dog or a pointed brindle dog. You kind of don't have both, like it's one or the other, right? So tan point is to fawn as brindle point is to brindle. Okay, so with fawn, you can have a fawnequin, which is a fawn and a harlequin combined, okay? So a couple fawnequins that you could have is you could have, and I'm gonna sit in the middle so we can pop up some pictures. You can have a Well, let's do solids first before we get into the fawn-a-quin, okay? So you could have a blue fawn. So blue fawn's over here. You could have a black fawn, lilac fawn, chocolate fawn. And I know it's like a slight variation, but it's almost like a hue of fawn over the black, over the blue, over the black, over the lilac, over the chocolate, okay? So that's your solid fawns with added color. So chocolate fawn, lilac fawn, all the things, okay? Ones I just mentioned. Now back to fawn-a-quin. Remember, any form of harlequin is a white base and their spots are different colored. So yesterday we talked about chocolate, lilac, blue, all those solid colors in harlequin, right? Your standard black and white harlequin, and then there's other colors. So in a, so you can have a fawn-a-quin. Okay, you can have a fawn-a-quin. Okay, this is a picture of what a fawn-a-quin would look like. Okay, and you could have that in any variations of the solids that I just talked about. Okay, so I hope that that makes sense. Again, when you add fawn in there, there's so many varieties. It's insane. Okay, so then we talked about staying on the quin part. You can also have a brindle quin. Now again, remember yesterday that we talked about you can have your standard brindle, chocolate brindle, lilac brindle, all the different colors of brindle, okay? But you can have them in harlequin form, okay? So this puppy up here is one of the first puppies that we produced, and she was a chocolate brindle harlequin, okay? So if she was solid, she would be a chocolate brindle, but she's a harlequin. So her spots are chocolate harlequin, okay? Following? Everybody tracking? Down here, you could do, and this isn't our puppy, it's just a random picture. You could have a blue harlequin, blue brindle harlequin. Still a brindle quin, but it's blue. Chocolate, blue, okay? So you could do all the varieties of a brindle quin, okay? So we talked about fawn-a-quin, we talked about brindle quin. I've not heard of a merle-a-quin. Maybe it's not possible. That's something I will need to maybe learn. Okay, but you can have, just like we talked about how you could have a blue fawn or a chocolate fawn, lilac fawn, right? And it's like a slight variation of how they're colored. You can also have a fawn merle, okay? So we have a guardianship program that, go check out that video that I explain our guardianship program and how that works. But we have a girl named Beretta. So here are a couple pictures of Beretta. She is a lilac merle fawn. I'm looking at Michaela. She's my backup over here. Like, what are you talking about? Okay. She keeps me on track and we learn these things together. As I learn things, I teach her, and usually vice versa. So she is a merle, right? She's spotted. However, it's slightly, not necessarily diluted, but there's that fawn hue over her. Okay, so she's a lilac fawn merle. Now, because she has the fawn showing, she can't be a tan point, remember? But she does carry tan point. So she will have the potential to carry tan point. All right. So you can have, again, any variety of fawn. Like I said, Beretta is a lilac fawn merle, but you could have a blue fawn merle. You could have a black fawn merle. You could have all of those shades. Okay, so that fawn is like a hue over top of the merle. Okay, so I hope you're tracking. Like I said, you add that fawn in there and there are so many varieties. So I hope that this video doesn't confuse you, but helps you. And like Hayden said in part 1 of this video, was once you kind of understand the basics, you can kind of add, oh yeah, that's a harlequin because the base is white, but look at the spots. Is it blue? Is it brindle? Like, what is it, right? is it a blue brindle harlequin? What is it? So you can kind of tell off of colors, and even breeders you'll ask, like, hey, what is this? And sometimes it takes weeks to develop, especially brindle. It takes a couple weeks sometimes for the brindle to come out, and there's shades too. So we're gonna go into pie and mantle, but one more thing about the shades is, in order to get a lilac dog, you have to have, okay, so here's a lilac. You have to have 2 chocolate genes and 2 blue genes to get the lilac, okay? So lilac is really a dilution of blue. So if you pair 2 blue dogs, which lilac is technically a blue dog, just diluted, you're gonna get all blue varieties of blue and lilac, okay? So that's how you get a lilac. Beautiful dogs. I'd love to add a lilac to, oh, we do have lilac. Beretta is lilac, but she's got that hue of fawn, so she doesn't look like a traditional lilac. Anyway, okay, so the next thing that we're gonna go into is pie, okay? So this is a pie dog. Now, you'll notice that now this is a standard pie, so it's got black spots and its base is white. Well, Samantha, I thought you said a harlequin base is white. You're absolutely right, I did. So the difference between a harlequin and a pie, this is a standard pie, this is a harlequin pie. So both their bases are white, but notice their spots. The spots of the harlequin are all over in shades of black and gray, really. The pie's got like big splotches, and sometimes their whole entire body can be white, and you might just have one big one, or you can have a couple big spots. So that is pie, okay? And again, since we're on pie, you can have all different colors. So you got the black pie, you can do a blue pie, chocolate pie, lilac pie, and all of the varieties in between. I'm not even gonna put pictures up of all of them, but you can have a brindle pie, a chocolate brindle pie, any form of color you can add into those spots, just like the harlequin we talked about at the beginning of the video, okay? So like I said, I'm not even gonna go into all of the different kinds, but know that a pie is a white-based dog with big blotchy spots, unlike the harlequin that has tons of spots, okay? And then use your judgment from the colors that I showed you to see what kind of pie dog that is, okay? The other thing is a mantle. A true mantle is when they have white the whole way around their neck, okay? It's like a big white collar, and a lot of them will have a stripe down the front too. So here will be a standard mantle, black and white mantle, okay? And then here's one that is still a mantle, but it doesn't have as much white. It's still considered a mantle, okay? Pie and mantle usually go, hey, there goes my husband on the tractor. Pie and mantle go hand in hand. You can test for pie on a color test, but you can't test for mantle. But a lot of times they do go hand in hand. So we would love to get some pie into our program and some possible mantle. And the same color rules apply to the mantle as they do a pie. Is it a blue fawn? Is it a fawn mantle? Is it a black mantle? Is it a harlequin mantle? All of the things. So any color, like I said, just like the pie, you can apply that to a mantle. I'm such a sucker for chocolates. I love chocolates. I would love to have a chocolate mantle, tan point possibly. And you can have a tan point with the mantle because, again, it's not that fawn and tan point gene are connected, but not the mantle and the fawn. So if you're royally confused, I've done my job now. Hopefully that clarifies. Lots of colors. I know that there are lots of questions that we get about the different colors. So hopefully seeing all those different pictures and explanation, I did clarify some things for you. And if you ever have a question, just reach out to me because, like I said, I can not only share the knowledge that, you know, we've gained over the years, but also I'd love to continue to learn and research something that that I don't know. This is Tanner. Isn't she beautiful? She's like the most beautiful. What is she? Quiz time. What are you? She's a black tan point. So she's black, but she's got tan on her eyebrows, and I'm sure you saw on her cheeks. So she's just gorgeous. So I think we're gonna wrap up for part 2 of this video. And then the next video that we're gonna do is going to be what colors we currently have, what colors we're hoping to come up with. And then I thought about doing maybe a part 1 and 2, but it depends how long the video is. Basically, Hayden and I sat down yesterday and went over the goals because we are building a kennel. As you guys know, we try to put updates on Facebook, and once it's finished, Michaela will have so much fun doing a compilation video of all of the kennel being built. But where our program is going, our goals, and what that looks like moving forward, and what potentially we have in the future. So stay tuned for that video, because we're going to be talking about colors, right? All the colors of our dogs, and what we, like I said, our goals are and what we'd like to produce in the future. So if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. As always, hit that subscribe button, and we'd love to hear from you and hear your knowledge about all the colors. And until next time, bye.